Okay guys, so go ahead and look up here. I'm gonna just talk to you about how to take some of the things that we learned in our last sampler, which were using the elliptical marquee tool, and we are going to make some little planets. So we did our spheres, right, with some highlight and some shadow on a clipping mask. Now we're gonna add another element where we're gonna actually add an image in there. So to start off, I'm gonna go ahead and say File, New. I'm gonna open up my piece of paper, so I'm just gonna go to Print, Letter, and I'll call this my Planets Sampler. Put your name on there. And then make sure 8.5 by 11, 300, that should be by default if you've chosen letter. And then you're gonna hit Create. All right, so I've got my stuff here. I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and just right off the bat, you know, I said I'm doing space, like planets. Let's get some sort of background in here. I'm just gonna look up a galaxy. Oh, not the cell phone. All right, I'm gonna get some sort of space background. I like this one. Ooh, lots of stars, yay. Right click, copy image. I'll paste that in. Control V is paste. Oh, it didn't do it for me. Right click, copy image. My Photoshop seems to be getting a little laggy right now. There we go. Control V, Control T to transform. I'm gonna hold Shift to rotate this 90 degrees. I'm using Alt. There we go. And you know what? This is like, the stars are kind of intense. I'm actually gonna turn this down a little, my opacity of this layer. And then I think I might do a black layer under here. So you don't need to do this. I'm just being picky. All right, so I'm gonna put my stars back on. And all I did was I just turned down the opacity of this layer. So it's just like not too intense. Look at some stars. All right, I'm gonna zoom in. All right, I'm ready to start making my planets. So just like we did before, we're gonna make a new layer. We're gonna go ahead and grab our elliptical marquee tool. Remember, to make a perfect circle, you're gonna hold Shift. So I'm just Shift clicking, and I'm going to, you know, do the same thing, edit fill, put a color in there. Doesn't matter what color, because I'm now gonna take an image and I'm gonna put an image in this circle. So I'm gonna use my clipping mask. We used it for shadows and highlights before, but now we're gonna take it next level, and we're gonna add some textures in here. So I'm just gonna look up, you know, there's a variety of different things that you can look up. I'm gonna look up like an oil spill texture, because that looks pretty cool. Marble will look cool as well. I think this one. Oh, I'm gonna say tools, images, sorry. Tools, size, large, because I wanna get a nice high res image. You guys are welcome to get any sort of image you want. Try not to get ones with watermarks. It is just a sampler, but it's nice if they don't have watermarks. Ooh, this one looks kind of cool, so I'm gonna do this. Right click, copy. I'm gonna paste it in with Control V. Oh, my computer is really not cooperating. Right click, copy. Copy. Control V is paste. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna take this image, I'm gonna cover the shape, and then I'm going to, if you need to, Control T, remember to make it bigger, smaller, rotate it, etc. All right, and then I'm going to right click, create clipping mask. And voila, now I have that inside of my sphere. I can still go ahead, I'm gonna do a new layer, and I'm still gonna add a little highlight and some shadow. So I'll take my brush. I was doing some stuff in my other class, so let me go back to a regular soft round brush up there at the top, and I get my brushes right here. Low opacity. I'm gonna do a nice big brush on black. I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow on this side of my planet, and then I'll do a little highlight on this side. I'll just keep it all in one layer. Right click, create clipping mask. There we go. All right, and then I'm ready to make another one. So I'll make a new layer. I'm gonna get my elliptical marquee tool, and I'll do another planet. And this time, You know what? Instead of edit, fill, color, because it doesn't really matter what color I have, this time I'm just gonna use my paintbrush and I'll turn it back to 100% opacity and I'll just fill in with this paintbrush because I just need a shape. It doesn't really matter what color it is. Now I'm gonna deselect, that is Control D, deselect. And then I'm gonna find another image and let's see, maybe I'll look up a marble texture. A marble texture, ooh, this looks kind of cool. I'll use this, right click, copy image. You guys are welcome to use anything you want, by the way. You don't need to use what I'm using. Paste, whoa, that one must be super high res. I'm zooming out with Control minus. I'm gonna transform this with Control T. It doesn't need to be that big. I can keep it. There we go. I'm gonna zoom in. Control 0 to get back to center screen. And I'm gonna right click, create clipping mask to put it inside that white circle. Now this one, I can't, especially on the projector, it's really hard to see. So I think this is a good use of, we can talk about Control U. If I open Control U, it's gonna open my hue saturation thing. And I'm gonna just play around with this. Okay, I can see if I change my slider, my saturation, my lightness. Okay, there's also a colorize. So just play with your sliders because it's like this black on black, you really can't see it very well. So I'm gonna turn this into, ooh, I like that. And to get to that menu again, I'm gonna do Control Z. It was Control U, Control U. You can also get to it up here, hue saturation, but that's Control U. Colorize if you want, saturation. I'll do my lightness up, just because it was blending into the background way too much. I think I liked it like so. Ooh, I like that. Okay, great. I'm gonna move on to another planet, or I'll add my highlights and shadows. Now, one thing, I'm starting to get a lot of layers. I'm gonna close this over here. I'm gonna show you how to group your layers. So to group your layers, everybody look up here, pause what you're doing. When you start to get a lot of layers, and like right now I have 2 clippy masks on this one thing, right? And there's gonna be times where you have like 4 clippy masks on one object. Go ahead and start grouping things. So you're gonna hold Shift, click all these layers, because these are all related, and I'll put them in this little folder. And now, all of this, when I Control T, moves together, all together at once. Okay, so same thing here. I'm gonna add my new layer. I'll do my highlight. Whoopsies, I better turn that down. That was way too much. Turn my opacity down. My highlight and my shadow over here on this side. Right click, whoops. My computer's like definitely behind, that's okay. Create clipping mask. And again, I'm gonna put this in my folder. And now I can move this all together. I can make this whole thing bigger. I can make this whole thing smaller. Maybe I'll make that one tiny right in front. Okay? You can open up inside your folder if you need to get to these, like that shadow's way too much. Maybe I'll get rid of it. Or maybe I'll just turn down the opacity of that layer. All right. So there's my other little planet. All right, I'll make a new one. New layer. I'm gonna get my elliptical marquee. Hold Shift. Oopsies. Control 0 to get back to center screen. All right, I'll make a planet here. Get my brush. Again, it doesn't matter what color you can say edit fill or you can paint. It doesn't matter. Edit fill, color, doesn't matter. Any color you want. Okay. Control D. I'm gonna go get my image. Whatever I want to put in here. Desert texture. Let's see, desert texture. That could be cool. Like cracked desert. Oh, this one looks like it'll be great. I'm gonna use this one. Right click, copy. Paste it in. Control T. make it bigger than my object, right above it, right click, create clipping mask. It's gonna go inside. That one's a little bit too low res, but it's okay because it's just a sampler. I think this is a good one for maybe I'm gonna use my Control U because I feel like I like the texture, but I don't know if I like the color. So I think I'm gonna give it some color. Ooh, I like that. Maybe a desaturated blue. There, I'm happy with that. So again, that's just Control U, image adjustments, hue saturation. So if you like the look of something but you don't like the color, Control U. And I can still go back. I think I want to, make this bigger. I want the texture to be a little bit bigger. There we go, like so. I'll add my highlight. I really should be doing these on separate layers, so I'll do that. Right click, create clipping mask, plus make my shadow. Again, I'm using my soft brush. Hardness is down to 0. My opacity is down low. Making my shadow. And right click, create clipping mask. And then I'll go ahead and stick all these objects, all these layers, I'm sorry, together into a folder. And there's my third planet. All right, so on and so forth. So you're practicing clipping an image in. Don't forget, you can change colors. You can move stuff around. I can swap out this background if I don't like this background or if it's too much. Look, I can just turn down the opacity. Okay, I can move it around. This is my planet over here. I don't like where that is. That's okay. I'm gonna hit Control T. If I don't like the order, okay, here's this planet. I wanna bring that above. I'm gonna just drag it up in the layer stack. There it is, now it's in front. Control T, maybe I'll have this one over here. Okay, so on and so forth. I will go ahead and post this video for you. So again, you're making a elliptical marquee, filling it with color. You can either say edit, fill, or you can just paint. And you're gonna go ahead and clip in. Let's see some other things that look nice. Desert texture, marble texture, like scratched metal. Those can look cool. Scratched metal texture. Sometimes those can look kind of neat as well. You could do planets like lava, like a lava texture. That can look kind of cool. Flames, I've had people do flames before. Ooh, like this one, I like this one. I'm gonna do one like this. I'll do a lava texture, so I'm gonna make a new planet. Edit, fill, color, Control D, paste in my lava that I've already copied, drag it on top, right click, create clipping mask, there it is. I'm gonna make this actually a little smaller, there we go. And if you wanna change your color, Control U. Maybe I'll do like a different, ooh, I like that, like pink, there we go. I'm happy with that. Plus, add a new layer, add a little bit of shadow on this side of the planet. And then clipping mask, a little bit of highlight. I'm just switching back to my white. Right click, create clipping mask. And you can also move, so like if your shadow is not quite in the right spot, you can move them, you can delete them. If it's too strong, you can turn down the opacity. So shift clicking all my layers and I'll put it in a folder. And boom, done. Alrighty, I will go ahead and post this on